ITV's Dr. Amir Khan has revealed his unique funeral requests, saying that he wants guests to dance to 90s R&B tunes when the time eventually comes. The NHS doctor, who appears regularly on ITV's Lorraine and Good Morning Britain, and who is also a best-selling author, said he doesn't want a somber occasion. Instead, he hopes for a party atmosphere where hundreds of gathered family and friends will start dancing with one another. The 42-year-old GP spoke about his wishes during an appearance on the Let's Start Talking podcast hosted by Loose Women presenter Colleen Nolan. The podcast is part of our important campaign with Co-op Funeral Care to make people more comfortable when it comes to discussing death and funeral wishes, is now available to download from Apple Podcasts, Spotify or Google Play Store. Asked if he would have music, he replied, "I would have music. I'm a big fan of 90s R&B, so we've got to get some of that on. And it's all quite sexy, isn't it? Which is how I describe myself, obviously. So perfectly fitting for me. I'll get a playlist together, we'll start slow and then work our way up. Turn down the lights. Whatever happens at my funeral stays at my funeral," he joked. "That's what I want it to be like. And then I want people to go, oh, that was a great tune, and I haven't heard that song for ages. Actually, this is encouraging me to have this discussion with my loved ones, because I genuinely haven't, and I have it with lots of other people every single day. And I haven't done it. I think I'm going to do that because I think if I tell my mom I want grinding at the funeral, she'll just forbid it. If it's written down, she can't because everyone will go, that's what he wanted. I might have a living funeral as a dry run, see what songs work best and try the food. We're not programmed to talk about our death, our biology and our psychology kind of resists those conversations because it's not something you want to talk about," added Dr. Khan. "Our biology is all about reproduction and passing on genes and living on, rather than not living on. So it goes against everything you kind of believe in." Celebrities including television star and NHS doctor Alex George and presenter Raymond Holmes have also joined the podcast to talk about their own personal experiences of bereavement, as well as what plans they might be looking to put in place for their own funeral. Dr. Khan spoke of his regret at not having had a conversation with his father about his funeral wishes before his sudden death from heart failure when Dr. Khan was just 26 years old. "It sounds really surprising now because all I do is encourage that as part of my role as a GP when patients have an illness without a cure," he said. "We try and talk about it, and get that written down formally. But we hadn't done, with my father, that, and we hadn't been asked to do it either. We didn't know what he wanted specifically, but culturally there is a set of things we have to go through, and that was helpful because we know you know what the funeral arrangements have to be and there's very little kind of flexibility in that. We don't have music at our funerals, it's a very somber affair, which I'd like to change a little bit, to be honest. I don't think my dad had a good death, and having a good death is super important." That sounds really counterintuitive, doesn't it? A good death. But it's just as important as a good life. Asked how he would encourage patients to approach the subject of funerals with family members, he added, "I always say to my patients, make a day of it. So go out, do your will or plan your funeral. For lunch, go somewhere nice afterwards. That helps if you've got an elderly relative, or relative with a terminal illness. It's quality time with them as well, but also in the long run, you're making these decisions which will help you both." The Let's Start Talking podcast is available to download now from Apple Podcasts, Spotify or Google Play. Talking now helps your loved ones later. For help starting your conversation, visit coop.co.uk/conversation.